It is what we customarily call straight up noontime here in Radio Land. And we are Radio Land today. As apparently our video portion is on vacation somewhere. It is the Keys. It is Lobster Mini Season Week. So that alone is enough to make all of the bugs that will come out in technology.
Mr. Mills, the video camera is back on and the world is watching.
Oh, my God. Oh, well, all right. Here I had this great little speech worked out, too. It was, one of those things that just pops in your head like, yeah, man, they're going to love this. Oh, okay, all right. So like your thing in Steamboat Springs, which we'll talk about after the show. So we have a great program lined up for you today. This is Florida Keys Real Estate Guys Live. Mykael is out hauling the mail, as they say, trying to earn a living. So he will be joining us, I think, later on. This program is brought to you each and every Monday by the good folks at Sunshine Title. Jenny Pinnell and the gals up there promise you no surprise closings, and we completely support that. Of course, Jim has not balled his fists up yet and swung at me, so I'm good to go there. James Lapointe, our new local lender that we work with here, great guy, great rates. Currently over the weekend, 3.3% primary lending. So if you're looking for a primary home down here in the Keys, that is what you call a pretty good rate. Get a hold of us here or go to the radioa1a.com page, and you can find out more about James there, Mr. LaPointe. Also, Heartbreakers Brewery right here, mile marker 81 Oceanside. Every Wednesday night, live sessions. In the middle of the week, you want to get over the hump in the week, so to speak, bada bing. Come on down here, mile marker 81 Oceanside. It's an open stage. Dave Fader here last weekend. Amazing show. Unbelievable. The guy, he's either been going to sleep every night listening to Segovia and Sabikas in his earphones or whatever, but his guitar playing is getting better and better all the time. You can actually pick that up both on his page and on the Radio A1A page as well. Yes, Harry? So you can do that as a podcast if you like. And then one of the things we're most proud of here is the crime series novels that take place here in the Keys of Jake Sullivan, written by author Chip Bell. Great stuff, good beach reads, and hopefully soon to be available in audiobooks. We're working on that. If you want to know more about the novels of Chip Bell, the Jake Sullivan crime series, please go to radioa1a.com and click on the guy under the palm tree with the gun. Okay, moving right along. Groucho Marx said this best, and it still rings true today, maybe now more than ever. But all men are born with larceny in their souls. I've been warned that finishing the comment might be somewhat sexist, so I will I will try and avoid that pothole. But he does say something about women, So, it just appears that these days, if somebody is given the opportunity to stick it to somebody else, they really don't have any qualms about it anymore. I have a thing on my phone now. If you have a smartphone and you get a telemarketing call coming in, it'll say scam likely. And scams are kind of what we're talking about today. Joining me is Jim Lapino. Jim, thank you for coming along. So we have all cameras here, Harry? All right. Voila. There you go.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Jim is probably one of the best legal eyes in certainly Monroe County and in South Florida. Real estate and title work has been primary of what it is you do?
Substantial portion of what I've done for the last 42 years, yes.
To put it more succinctly, yeah. Yeah, this is how I paid the bills for 40 years, Mark. I know a little bit about it. So, and there is actually a number. I went online to research it, and as a retired agent, I've seen it over the last couple of years in my practice that title agencies are getting bombarded with these bogus escrow letters and things like that. I mean, explain that if you can. Shine some light on how that works.
The scam of the year, or actually probably at this point 2 years or 3 years, has really been targeted at real estate closings.
Wow.
Primarily over the internet, of course.
Well, there's big money changing hands here.
Oh, I think the numbers that I last saw something last year was $17 billion.
Billion?
Billion with a B.
Holy cow.
Dollars of transferred funds that had been scammed by virtue of the internet and real estate closings. That's up, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but I think it was up from something like 6 the year before.
So almost tripled.
So, yeah, almost tripled. It was a substantial increase, and it's really targeting closing agents, whether they are title companies and or attorneys,
right,
and real estate agents who are trying to do their best job by keeping their clients involved in the transaction and letting them know that we're getting ready to close, and so it's time to transmit money.
Well, and there's sort of a heightened element of email flying back and forth as the closing approaches, correct?
Absolutely. Usually the buyers and the closing agents have a small amount of exchange while the buyers are doing their due diligence on the buying of the property. But as the closing gets closer, everybody's getting ready to actually have the day of closing, and the emails start going back and forth about closing statements, how much the buyer needs to bring to closing, how much the seller is going to net, sending back and forth draft documents, things of that nature. And there are scams where the internet bad guys are out there with tracing words that they've locked into because somebody has breached your email system because you've responded to a bad email or something someplace along the time and haven't had your malware fixed. Mm-hmm. And so they just sit there and they have a program that the bad guys are really smart, and they design to watch for keywords like closing, wire transfer, things of that nature. Mm-hmm. And what happens is when wire transfer instructions are sent out to the buyer to say, please send your $250,000 to the following email address or to the following bank account, oftentimes they will follow with another email that looks identical to the human eye of what the email was that was sent, only it will have one letter different.
One letter?
One letter. So it'd be a self-created email address that they've made to look like your own address, or like the closing agent's address, and it'll have one letter different, it'll have a symbol different, something of that nature, and then it'll say, please wire your funds to the following wire transfer account. And people, as I said, $17 billion worth, have fallen victim to this over the course of the last year.
Well, and
several years.
By no means is this a how-to on how to commit this particular type of fraud, but I mean, a one-letter difference in an email.
Your human eye is not going to pick it up.
Not capable.
It's just we are all too accustomed to not even looking at the addresses where things come from. But on something as important as wire transfer instructions, which, by the way, most closing agents now are taking greater precautions and not sending that kind of information over the internet. Mm-hmm. But you at least have to confirm it orally that you got the right instructions.
Well, I hate to set it up on a tee for you, but, I mean, is it we've just gotten to the point where, well, it came in on the web, it must be okay.
Yeah, sure. Hey, we all are so reliant on it. We trust the web. We trust our emails.
Cool.
And like so many, we don't think it's going to happen to us.
Right.
We don't think our closing agent, our attorney, our title company is going to be the one that's going to get hacked.
Our realtor.
Right, our realtor. Right. Correct. Exactly.
Oh, my God. $17 billion.
Correct.
Now, and I mean, to guard against this, I mean, if you're looking for one letter difference, I mean, best bet, pick up the phone, call the title company, or are there other ways to protect yourself?
Absolutely, it's pick up the phone and call your title company, your closing agent, your attorney, and confirm the information that's being sent. And the reverse side of that is either the title company, closing agent should be sending you the information encrypted, or in a situation where they say, call us to get the information. Going back to the old days where you actually picked up the phone and talked to somebody?
Oh, my God. Yeah, really. What an idea that is.
The millennials don't understand that necessarily.
Well, but they're supposed to be the smart one. We had a great discussion here a while back with a gal who was millennial, and it really boiled down to this, that she openly stated, I don't want to save the world. It's really, you guys effed it up. You guys fix it. Because she had come under contract. She'd just been through Tallahassee, and a number of people were coming up and putting their arm around her going, you're going to save the world. And she was like, I didn't screw it up. You guys screwed it up. You fix it, So the millennials, I think, are beginning to buck a little bit. They are, however, probably the most web-savvy group.
By far.
Yeah. And if they're being, hooked in by this, there isn't much hope for the rest of us, I don't think.
I think anybody can be, and especially, again, we trust the people that we're dealing with. If you see your realtor's name on a transmittal, if you see if something comes from a signature that says Jim Lapino on it, are you going to think it's Jim Lapino, or are you going to think it's somebody in Russia?
Right.
Well,
I don't know. Lapino's not necessarily a Russian name, is it?
A little more Italian.
A little more Italian. Just a little bit more, So, folks, we're at 14 minutes after the hour, and we have the great luck to be talking with Jim Lapino, who is a Florida Keys, South Florida real estate attorney, I guess is one way of putting it. An attorney, but a good one, So, and we'll forego all of the attorney jokes today. So, and
I have my favorite ones.
Maybe we'll get to those later then. That's good. If you would like to watch this program as well as listen to it, please go to A1A Media on YouTube or Facebook, and you'll get the pictures to go with the sound. How about that? And while you're there, please like us on Facebook, Florida Keys Real Estate Guys Live. And, we're going to take a break because Harry needs to pay some bills, which is important. So we are coming to you live from Heartbreakers Brewery in Isla Mirada, Florida today, heading towards the heart of the lobster mini season. God save us all. We'll be back in a couple of minutes.
If I had my way, I'd set sail right away. Destination, southern shores. Throw my cares upon a shelf. Head on off for somewhere else where the weather's always warm.
Jake Sullivan lies near death in a coma. His best friend Mike drives the hunt for the man who leads a criminal enterprise that could poison paradise with a chemical weapon. There's no safe harbor to be had here. Cuban Crime of Passion is the latest in the Jake Sullivan series from author Chip Bell. Available now, Cuban Crime of Passion. Check out RadioA1A.com. Click on the guy under the palm tree with the gun.
Cartel in Key West, corrupt politicians.
Hello, Radio A1A listeners. This is Mykael Marinelli of American Caribbean Real Estate. Let me ask you, are you tired of the same old real estate agents doing the same old stuff the same old way? I provide a level of service that most agents can't, don't, or won't. Contact me to find your piece of paradise here in the Florida Keys, or to assist you in finding a great agent nationwide. As part of the Christie's International Real Estate Network, I've got a team of agents that can take care of you no matter where you are. So no matter what your real estate needs are, with 22 years of service, contact me, Mykael Marinelli, the real estate conch of American Caribbean Real Estate, at 305-439-7730 or visit me at my award-winning Florida Keys real estate and lifestyle blog at therealestateconk.com. I look forward to working with you soon.
You've been coming to the Keys for a while, and you rent a nice place, but the rents keep going up. You know it's time to consider buying a home in the Keys. First thing, find out how much home you can afford. Time to talk to Jim. Jim LaPointe is your new Keys local lender. Easy qualifying, lowest rates, FHA, VA, conventional. Time to talk to Jim. Log on to radioa18.com. Click on interest rates. Rates change often, so check them daily. Time to talk to Jim.
Hello, this is Mykael Marinelli of American Caribbean Real Estate with your Real Estate Conk featured property. Today, spotlighting 125 Venetian Drive in Isla Mirada. Here, you can enjoy the phenomenal Isla Mirada lifestyle in this just-built waterfront home. Everything's new. 3 bedrooms upstairs and a separate guest suite downstairs. Exceptional features include stunning granite kitchen, veranda, sumptuous master bath, and a homeowner's park with its rare sandy beach. This is your bucket list opportunity. For more information on this home and other power buys, contact me at 305-439-7730 and visit my award-winning Florida Keys lifestyle blog at therealestateconk.com.
I'm Maynard Edwards from Baltimore, Maryland, and whenever I'm on the road to the Florida Keys or I just want to feel like I'm in the Florida Keys, I listen to Trop Rock on Radio A1A at radioa1a.com.
I think Harry really likes this music.
So do I.
Yeah, get that Beavis thing going on up there. It's just rocking out. So, welcome back to the program. This is Florida Keys Real Estate Guys Live. I am Mark Mills, one of the Florida Keys Real Estate guys. Mykael Marinelli is the other one, and he is out selling homes today. Go figure. So, boat slips. Yeah, well, they're boat slips, even better. So, all right. So, well, and you know what? Boat slips. I'm telling you, folks. Now, there is something that a few years back, he and I sold a condo over at Landings of Largo. And sort of the decider for the couple that were buying it was, did they want the boat slip or not? And, you know, we told them because they could save, I think, $40,000 off the purchase price. But, you know, I mean, those boat slips sell for over $100,000 now, easily.
He has one for $95,000, one for $90,000, and they're in the Kawama, whatever that is.
Yeah,
Kawama, yeah. 24 feet boat slips, and one has a lift.
There you go. I rest my case. Moving right along. The pursuit of wealth, and we were talking off camera, is I mean it's a hardy profession these days, or a hardy pursuit. People trying to make sure that their money passes from them to their offspring and whatnot, relatively unscathed by the government. Jim brought up the fact that 2011 was the year to die.
2011 was the year to die, estate planning-wise, correct. No estate tax that year.
And of course now that's done. So,
right.
You know, all right, so we're back to having taxes on your estate. A big part of this deal, though, really seems to be, and people can confuse the crap out of home ownership when they're forming LLCs to own the house or a trust or something like that. Are they really, number one, are they really going to save money transferring, the home to their children that way? And number two, I mean, is there a cost factor in this? I mean, is it legally very expensive to change the title of the home?
There are a couple of different factors, one of which we didn't talk about, which is a lot of people do it for avoidance of probate,
right?
Whether or not they even have a taxable estate.
Right.
At this point in time, because of the changes in the tax laws, as we talked about, 2010, 2011, and
right.
then it changes. Now we're up to $11 million.
It's a huge number.
It's a huge number, but we're blessed in the Florida Keys to have the highest values of real estate in anywhere in this area in the state of
Blessed
Florida.
and cursed,
right?
So,
right.
Yeah.
But but people trying to pass their estates on to their children without the estate taxes, it's a very important task to do it right, because not only can you mess up tax-wise, which you then have complicated your life and their life later, but also the way you address the title. And changing the title on a piece of property from husband and wife per se to a trust of husband and wife is not easy, or it's not hard to do.
Okay.
But you have to make sure that you do it right.
Okay.
And it's not expensive to do if the trust or the LLC that you put it in is wholly owned by the same people who were on title before they do the transfer.
Right.
But if you change ownership in any manner whatsoever, then you have to pay documentary stamps. And on a piece of property that's worth $1 million, you're talking
big doc stamps.
Big doc stamps.
Yeah.
And the problem that we run into quite frequently is when people try to do it themselves, and they will create their own quitclaim deeds. And more often than not, you'll find that attorneys later on, when they go to sell the property or they're dealing with an estate, are having to clean up title to the property because people in their best efforts don't understand how to properly prepare a deed.
Not unlike the medical profession. The legal profession makes you go to school for at least 3 extra years beyond your degree, I believe. Law school is 3 years. Yes.
Law school is 3. I had a daughter who just graduated.
Woohoo! All right, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, mazel tov. Does she know what kind of law she's going to practice in?
She was only given the choice of litigation or transactional, and she chose litigation.
There you go. Good for her.
Okay.
All right, so she got spirit.
Yeah.
You got to admire that. That's good. I have a niece who is now the corporate voice of a tool manufacturer in the Midwest. So she's a chief legal counsel. I'm real proud of her. It's pretty cool. So, again, stepping around all of the legal jokes for the time being. Within title, biggest mistake you see people make?
When they prepare their own deeds to transfer title in their best efforts to transfer it into a trust or an LLC, they will leave out legal description, make an error in the legal description, which we see a lot of.
Oh, yeah.
We will see...
That's where your one letter can change.
One letter can change everything, especially if it's a legal description that's meets and bounds as opposed to Lot 4, Block 5. So if it's meets and bounds and they don't copy it correctly, that's a problem.
You all know what meets and bounds is? Huh?
So the meets and bounds is the description where it goes, from that tree to that rock and then back again. So
well, and then I love that stuff. See, Harry remembers that. He was a lender back in the day. So
that's right.
And that stuff that is in a very small definition. That is what real estate agents learn. To get a license is, things like meets and bounds. What does it mean? How many hectares in an acre, how many acres in a hectare, that kind of thing. Now, do you use it very often? Of course not. But, if you're going to be a title attorney or something like that, or a real estate attorney, this is the other language that you learn. This is how you make sure that things are done legally.
Correct.
I think that, the pursuit of people trying to hold on to wealth, especially when you're talking about filling out your own documents. God bless the guys who came up with LegalZoom and stuff like that. But, I'm not sure they aren't just kicking Pandora's box down the street, and all the contents are flying out all over the place because you're supposed to learn, how to fill out the documents. That's, this is the stuff you learn in law school when you study this stuff, correct?
Sure.
Yeah.
And the predecessor to LegalZoom was Ramco Forms and things of that nature.
Right.
But they don't teach you how to fill it in properly. And they don't teach you the importance of one letter versus another letter in a call in the legal description.
Right.
Or a lot of times we'll see, people leave out, this is a very common one, the marital status of the people who are involved. Oops. And then later on, somebody has to go back and say, well, were they married or were they single? Were they divorced? How did they hold title? Tenants in common, joint tenants, things of that nature.
In that in itself is a great, simple explanation of why this stuff needs to be done legally, is because, if you have just a listed man and woman, buying a property, one of them dies, does that determine if the property will pass from one to the other without probate or with probate, or who's going to pay? How bad are they going to pay? That type of thing, correct?
Absolutely. And a lot of people, certainly, because they've never had the training in it, and maybe somebody didn't tell them when they were looking on the internet for how they prepare a quitclaim deed, didn't tell them the importance of the difference between tenants in the entireties, which is only between spouses.
Right.
Joint tenants with right of survivorship, which means basically that if one of them dies, it automatically goes to the other. Or tenants in common, which means mine is mine and yours is yours, and my share goes to my heirs and your share goes to your heirs.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that if they don't put that definition in the title of their deed document,
right,
then it's going to automatically go as tenants in common unless they at least put husband and wife.
Right.
And that may not be their intention.
Now, there's a great old movie called Body Heat.
Oh, I loved it.
Wonderful, because it's partially a good murder mystery, really good adult sceens, and Kathleen Turner in her prime, and a legal thriller as well. And they used somebody dying intestate, I believe was part of that. Does that still exist in the state of Florida?
Yes. Well, dying intestate means dying without a will.
Period.
Without a will, period. That's
okay.
Intestate. Testate is with a will.
Okay.
And so it does still play into it. And, of course, when you die intestate, then it matters as to whether you were married, whether you die with children, whether you die with adult children or minor children, whether you die with a spouse of those children or a second spouse, things of that nature. That all comes into play. And that movie, Kathleen Turner was a very shrewd person who set up William Hurt really bad.
Big time, yeah. Oh, Bill kind of got, there's a number of ways I could word that, and none of them are clean enough to use on radio. So basically, this type of thing has, I think, spooled forward too in Florida, especially. I mean, we're classics for the I got some land in Florida for you, old kind of scam. But if you move forward in real estate, some of the stuff that we're dealing with in scam land in Florida, like the escrow services we just talked about. What kind of, and I'm asking you this, like, but I mean, how deviant does somebody have to be to look over something like a closing practice and go, I can take advantage of this. I can rip these people off.
Unfortunately, for all of us honest people in the world, there's a lot of people who are very, very smart and use their talents, and they are talents because these people are very, very smart on computers and know what to do, and they're setting everybody up. And it's the people who don't want to earn a living honestly, but boy, if they use their talents appropriately, they could go a long way.
$17 billion taken from escrow services in the last year. We're going to take another break, folks. You are listening to the Florida Keys Real Estate Guys live from RadioA1A.com. Please like us on Facebook. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Oh, there he is.
If you're a realtor, or if you're buying a home or selling a home, maybe you're thinking about buying a piece of land to build on. One thing you need to consider in any real estate transaction is title. You want to be sure there are no surprises ahead. Getting clear title and title insurance is the one and only job of Sunshine Title of the Keys. Sunshine Title for escrow, closings, and title insurance done right. Call Jenny at Sunshine Title 305-451-0032 today.
Want to avoid the hassle of traffic and parking? Why not park your car and leave it? Then hop on the free Duval Loop. This free hop-on, hop-off bus service runs from the city's Park and Ride on Grinnell Street. The Duval Loop gives you free and easy access to restaurants, galleries, gift shops, and theaters. Just park once and forget it. Go green and ride the bus, the free Duval Loop.
You've been coming to the Keys for a while, and you rent a nice place, but the rents keep going up. You know it's time to consider buying a home in the Keys. First thing, find out how much home you can afford. Time to talk to Jim. Jim LaPointe is your new Keys local lender. Easy qualifying, lowest rates, FHA, VA, conventional. Time to talk to Jim. Log on to radioa18.com. Click on interest rates. Rates change often, so check them daily. Time to talk to Jim.
Keys is a chain of islands known for its crystal blue waters, famous for sports fishing, world-class diving, and its laid-back atmosphere. Nestled between the Everglades National Park and the National Marine Sanctuary, the Keys are home to a precious and rare ecosystem found nowhere else. Here you will also find world-class dining featuring fresh from the dock seafood as well as other chef-prepared culinary favorites. The Florida Keys has the feel of a quaint seaside village with a laid-back vibe, taking you worlds away from everyday cares. Stunning coastal-inspired homes line the shores of the islands, offering spectacular sunset views. Whether you start your day taking in the sunrise on your oceanfront veranda or heading out on the water for an adventure, the Keys has something to offer everyone. American Caribbean Real Estate, your Christie's International Real Estate Brokerage, knows that our island lifestyle is just as important as the home, and we are prepared to match you to the right property to fit your lifestyle. As the local Christie's International Real Estate affiliate, we have the powerful backing of the network, including 1,300 offices worldwide, and the only real estate company owned by a premier auction house. This, added to our local market expertise, makes American Caribbean Real Estate the right agency to assist you in finding your piece of paradise in the Florida Keys.
This is your Key West Honorary Mayor Gonzo Mays, and you're listening to Radio A1A, music for the road to paradise. So damn the carnations, full speed ahead!
Rocking our way back into the third segment of the program. Young Melina Miller sounds so good on that spot. She really does.
I didn't realize that was her.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have talked her into going into radio, but her mother would have probably had me drawn and quartered. So, if you mention going into radio or television in front of parents nowadays, it's like, a cat, you get near their food dish, it's, don't even think about doing that to my child. Speaking of radio, Harry was just talking about an ad he heard on the radio. Joining me today is Jim Lapino, who's an attorney, a lawyer, working with real estate in South Florida here in the Florida Keys, and kind of a longtime Keys guy as well, so hip to this jive down here in Paradise. And the radio ad Harry was talking about was protect the title of your home. Well, there's a lot to that because the bottom line is that people are working scams, to take your house away from you, basically,
Absolutely.
and then sell it to somebody else.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, and you've seen some of this, I take it.
I've seen various different degrees of it in various different fashions.
Yeah.
I mean, as simple as people recording what we would call a wild deed.
Wild deed.
A wild deed. A wild deed is somebody goes out and records a deed against somebody else's property that they have no interest in, and then it clouds their title. And at some point, which it could be days, weeks, or more likely years, until somebody gets around to checking their title or transferring the title, and all of a sudden now they have an issue to clean up. And more often than not, the litigation that it would involve to get it cleaned up, which is a quiet title suit,
right,
results in people saying, what do I have to pay to make this person go away?
Right.
And that happens. It happens all the time. I've also had another one, which was a really interesting case that we had, where a person didn't have his money for closing. This is a great story.
Oh, boy.
A person from Germany did not have his money for closing, and he talked to the seller into taking back a second in a promissory note, but because the funds were going to be there next week, don't record the mortgage.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy. So what happened when the person didn't pay next week or the week after or the week after, 2 months went down the line and the funds didn't come in, they decided, I better go record that mortgage, only to find out now it's a third because he took out a second in between, and we're talking about millions of dollars.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah. So don't ever not record the mortgage.
Well, of course not. I mean, that's just foolish. I mean, we were also talking in the break that people want to forego buying a title policy when buying or selling a home. It's absolutely insanity, isn't it?
As far as I'm concerned, it is. When I buy properties and I issue title insurance, I get title insurance on every piece of property I buy.
It just doesn't make any sense whatsoever, especially in South Florida, and especially a place like the Keys, where we've developed for so long, and you got to make sure.
I got some land in Florida.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So I think it's so integral to make sure you've got someone really looking out for your interests and making sure your title's going to be.
Well, you're just flat out covered.
Yeah,
you're covered. Well, the way the title insurance works is that you get a policy for the amount of the purchase price that you are paying for the property,
right?
So long as it appraises at that value generally, and the mortgagee gets a policy for the mortgage amount so that you don't have to pay the bank if there's a title problem,
right?
But sometimes people will look at the cost of title insurance and say, I don't want to spend that. I had that call last Friday on $1 million piece of property.
Yeah. I just had that discussion with someone the other day, and they're going, oh, my gosh, I didn't realize. But that's part of what you got to realize when you're closing, and that's why it's important for people like us to give them the heads up.
It's a minute percentage.
Yes.
Minute.
For the safety that you get.
Size of a gnat compared to the bug of the more. I mean, it just the mortgage is this beast with little gnats all over it.
And you know it.
The title insurance policy is cheap to guarantee it. I have a friend, same thing. Million. I think they paid $850, something like that, $900,000, 98, 97 up in Miami, South Beach. High rise, beautiful place, 3-story, lots of glass on the water. Got it out of foreclosure, and I mean, it had to put some dough into it, but that was the purchase price. Bought his title insurance, did the whole deal, did it proper, good sale. 2 years later, he gets a call from a bank. We'd like to take possession of our condo. Excuse me? Yeah, we've got $1 million mortgage on that condo. Well, talk to my title agent.
Right.
Never heard another word about it.
But you raise a very interesting point.
That's what I try to do in the show.
So. You raised a good one because a lot of people will look for those deals on buying foreclosures.
Yeah.
And what happens is the bank or the lender, maybe a private individual who's foreclosing on the property, isn't necessarily foreclosing everyone out. And if you miss somebody, they still have a lien against the property.
For sure. For sure.
And you don't get title insurance on a foreclosure sale. You have to then go to the title company and have somebody do a search, backtrack it, make sure that title's clean, and then they'll issue the policy to you.
Right.
Well, if you don't do that, if you just think, I'm going to do my own research and they foreclosed it. ABC Bank foreclosed, so they must have foreclosed everybody.
No such.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Protection, you know.
Right.
You may have heard on the way in, we're talking about different scams in real estate over the years, and we've had some good ones.
I had one last week that is unlike anything. The big property that I have.
Yeah.
Buyer contacts me, interested in the property. Very astute, knew all the comps, knew the area really, really well. CEO of a company. I checked them out as thoroughly as I could. Everything looked good. Company website, multiple Facebook, LinkedIn pages. Everything looked pretty good.
You're getting wet into the armpits. Just
Talking
about, okay,
cash deal.
Yeah.
Over $3 million. My seller countered. They said fine. It was sight unseen, by the way, which is not uncommon for the keys, where someone's going to come during inspection period because they were motivated to get the deal done.
Right.
I say, okay, give me please a proof of funds. Of course, very standard. When we're doing a contract, if you're getting a mortgage, you need a pre-approval, and if you're doing cash, you need proof of funds. Had to hound her down, but finally I got it from Royal Bank of Canada, signed by, and I verified online, an executive with them, specifying everything. But there was a real red flag. And funny enough, and I don't mean anything disrespectful for people who love cats, but here's a CEO, and their Facebook was nothing but cats and her loving cats. So this was a red flag. So just by that, I contacted the bank.
Yeah.
And even sent a copy of the proof of funds and said, hey, just wanted to verify. Also, they're closing quickly. Is access to funds available? I get a call from the head of security for Royal Bank of Canada, and they said, best forgery we've ever seen.
Wow.
We don't represent that. The person who would have issued it, she's a high up executive, but she wouldn't have been the one to sign this.
Right.
He says, I've never seen because it looked perfect. And, we're still trying to figure what was and you might understand, what was the outcome with a cash deal? They would have had to put up a deposit. I don't know.
I had a similar circumstance less than a year ago. It was a professional athlete.
Right.
And the professional athlete was calling me. He's sending pictures to me of him with his wife and kids.
Right.
Right. And it's the real professional athlete that's in the pictures, of course. And signing a contract for a piece of property, a very expensive piece of property in Key Largo. And ultimately it proved to be totally bogus.
Wow.
And the people,
Amazing.
the police that were in the community where this was initiated, went to investigate. But I never understood what the goal was.
That's my thing as well, because the only thing I can think of is maybe that we're showing someone else they had an option and we're just trying to sell it and got money from that other party. I mean, my seller would have only been out time in the end result, I believe. But you never know. And in fact, this corporate head of security, he did a deep, deep dive, and he was so impressed because they had everything was done. So this isn't obviously the first go-round for these people.
Well,
they were slick,
There's
super
a
slick.
school of thought that when people try and pull scams on this level, their actual target is up here, somewhere else.
Well, and I think that I was concerned that one of the things they were looking at is, get me the access to the bank account information of the lawyer.
That's true, right.
Or something of that nature, so that once I have the escrow account, now I have access into that.
That's another thing I hadn't thought of as well. So
and we talked about this earlier. $17 billion in escrow funds were stolen last year.
Wow.
Last year.
Wow.
I mean, that's just a staggering amount of money.
Amazing.
Yeah, it is. So, I got to think that there's probably, when people are setting these things up, I think you're spot on, Jim, that bank account information, they're just hoping somewhere along the line this stuff is going to bubble to the surface, and that's when they pounce.
We got suspicious enough, it never came to be, but we got suspicious enough that in the office we were saying if we're going to give him escrow information, we're literally going to go to the bank and open a separate escrow account with zero in it.
Right.
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Smart move.
So.
Yeah.
Smart move.
But that's the sadness in all this.
Yeah, it is.
We have to be ever vigilant in everything that we do these days, because whether it's our personal bank accounts, our personal computers that can get hacked, and all of your information with all your passwords and everything are in there. You have to be careful.
Yeah. And it is such a two-edged sword, too. I mean, most common, I would think, has got to be one of the areas that people will target is like things like the transfer of a deed, like a quit claim or something like that. What's your experience there?
Well, I think we were just talking about that people will, in fact, issue false, bogus quitclaim deeds, and then try to make a claim against the property at a later date, and the people who may own it have to fight for their own property.
But how are they successful with this, Jim? I don't understand, because it's just making a quitclaim against a deed, against a property, that actually gives you a right to ownership?
Years ago, before there's been a lot of legislation about it, having the deed itself and carrying it for a period of years, and then actually, especially if it was a large parcel of property, and you could go out and say you were claiming this
staking
little portion,
a claim, basically.
A claim. That's how people did it back then. But people did it legally back then in terms of big farmlands, and they'd go stake out an acre and homestead it, that sort of thing. But now I think it's more of a scam to get money.
Period.
It's just, it's going to cost me $20,000 in legal fees to fight somebody on this, so let me pay him 5 or 7 or 6 and make him go away.
It's almost like a nuisance lawsuit from a traffic accident or something.
Absolutely.
Like that. Well, oh my God. And these people are Sam's soul.
Right.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, they're cashing in nothing when the great reward comes.
But it happens, and it happens all the time.
Yeah. It sounds like it. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's great to have people who have experience and are diligent enough to be able to jump some of those hurdles to keep them away.
Yeah, absolutely.
Best you can.
Yeah. No kidding. Let me check our time here. Harry, we got one more break in us, don't we? Okay. Yeah, he's nodding.
Yes.
It's always good. Harry,
the affirmative.
You got to know, Harry had kind of an emotional roller coaster ride coming in here because we didn't think we were going to get video today.
Oh, okay.
So, it was going to be an oral only program, so it was AURAL.
Right.
So,
hello, folks. Glad you could join us.
Nice to see you all. Yeah, I'm glad you could make it. So we will take one more break. You are listening to the Florida Keys Real Estate Guys and watching us, too.
Yes.
Facebook, YouTube, all those places. A1A Media is the place to go.
You can find us.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
If I had my way, I'd set sail right away. Destination, southern shores. Throw my cares upon a shelf. Head on off for somewhere else where the weather's always warm.
You've been coming to the Keys for a while, and you rent a nice place, but the rents keep going up. You know it's time to consider buying a home in the Keys. First thing, find out how much home you can afford. Time to talk to Jim. Jim LaPointe is your new Keys local lender. Easy qualifying, lowest rates, FHA, VA, conventional. Time to talk to Jim. Log on to radioa18.com. Click on interest rates. Rates change often, so check them daily. Time to talk to Jim.
This is author Sammy Mays. May I recommend the Jake Sullivan series of novels by author Chip Bell.
He's Jake Sullivan and he's on the run. He's working for the president while basking in the sun.
If you enjoy reading, you need to read Chip Bell's latest novel, We Are the People Our Parents Warned Us About. Read and collect all 13 books in the Jake Sullivan series at chipbellauthor.com. The Jake Sullivan series has been awarded Mayor Gonzo Mays 5 Parrots and a Palm Tree for literary excellence.
Topical crimes in tropical climes. Assassins right there on the beach. Like a secret agent.
Yep. Hi.
Hey there, folks. We're live. Welcome to the live TV here. You never know what's going to go on.
I was a news anchor, and that happened to me once, where everybody was chatting about stuff, and you wouldn't believe the crap that goes on when the cameras are off
Right.
on a news studio.
But it reminds me of Ted Baxter. You ever see where he's got the makeup tissues on and it comes back on? You got to rip it off. But,
Mild by comparison, very mild by comparison. And if you assume this, you're correct. None of those people have pants on underneath the desk.
Of course, Ted. What's the guy? Stay classy. Will Ferrell.
Yeah, Will Ferrell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, segueing over to some great properties that we have. We're going to jump right in. Wanted to tell you about some great properties that we have that are phenomenal opportunities here in the Florida Keys. The first we're going to talk about is, and I'm really excited about this, is our large bayfront estate in Key Largo. It's almost an acre. It has a beautiful sandy beach, super long pier that you probably couldn't get a permit to go out that far. Mega boat lift. No, I mean, like I said, they're grandfathered in anymore, right? Yeah. Grandfathered in, and they have a house and a main house. A house and a guest house, excuse me. And this place is drop dead gorgeous. It's been used for commercials. It's been used for fashion shoots. Oh, and here's the best part. Yesterday, I took a $200,000 reduction. So this is a property that is fine on the main stage, no matter where you're going, Hawaii, the islands, or what have you. This competes, and it's now listed at $3,499,000. So a big boy price, but in terms of what you get, absolutely amazing. $200,000 reduction, and this is one of the coolest properties I've ever had the privilege to list. So definitely contact me about that one. The other property I wanted to tell you about is the one we have in White Marlin Beach, subdivision of Lower Matacumbe Key. What's cool about that one is their homeowners park also has a sandy beach. This home just got its CO, and it's got 3 bedrooms upstairs and a separate legal guest suite downstairs because it's above flood, which is fantastic. Just built, everything's new, and that one's currently available for $1,148,000. And the last thing I'm going to tell you about, and this is fresh off the ink isn't even dry.
The new stuff.
Yes, the ink isn't even dry. Is I just got 2 listings for boat slips in Kawama. Nice. If you know where Kawama is, and this is what's called Molasses Reef Marina, first class marina, lots of great amenities. Nice. They're 2 24-foot dock spaces. One has a lift, the other one is open, and you could buy them jointly as well. The one with the the one with the lift is available for $95,000. The one that doesn't have the lift is available for $90,000, and you could package those together if you have a larger boat.
$5,000 more for the lift.
Man. You talk about a great deal. Yeah. And if you want to look at where it is from Google Earth, you can see you go straight out, no bridges. Minutes to Molasses Reef, French Reef, the Spiegel Grove, no matter where you want to go.
Oceanside.
Great diving, fishing, whatever you want to do. Perfect location for it.
Sweet. Yeah. Excellent, man. Thank you, sir.
You got it.
And hot new listings. We want to wrap it up with Jim Lapino. First of all, thank you, sir.
Yes, so much for really appreciate it. And thank you for the inspiration, for going sans hair.
It works, right?
It does. It does.
If you want to stick them with something. The last thing I wanted to query about is surveys. This seems to be some waters that are getting very muddy these days.
It happens.
There's a pronoun or a noun you left out in front of happens. But it does happen all the time. What is the most common and how to avoid?
So the problem with not getting surveys. Yeah. Surveys are going to be required when you get a loan generally. Right. But when you pay cash, and a lot of people come down here and buy beautiful, large pieces of property paying cash, and they don't get a survey because they figure they don't need it. Well, later they discover that there's a problem and encroachment. It may not be a structure. No. Mike and I had one recently where there was a dispute over the neighbor's driveway, which actually went through the buyer's property. Right. The buyer wanted to put up a privacy fence on their property, and all of a sudden there's a dispute because the neighbor says, "Well, you're taking my driveway away." Well, no, I'm taking my property.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. My land.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so those types of things. Of course, we can see things that are encroachments. I had one where a person got an underground gas tank.
Okay.
Oh my God!
And because they buried it for a generator for hurricane protection and things like.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Well, when they put in the underground storage tank, they put it on their neighbor's property.
Oh my goodness!
There you go.
Hey, why not?
Well, that's convenient,
right? Why use mine?
Sure. Yes, exactly. You don't want to dig that hole up.
Exactly.
Rather have it leak in your coral than in mine. So,
but I mean, natural gas. And so, this
bigger boom.
Bigger boom.
Your buddy's property. There you go.
So not getting a survey is a big risk.
Very foolish.
A big risk.
Also, setbacks and things like that are important. Sometimes people build things that encroach into the setback.
Well, a lot of sheds wind up on other people's property.
Sheds are very, very common. Fences, I look at surveys all the time, and I can't tell whether the fence belongs to Lot 1 or Lot 2 because you don't know who put it in because it's right on the line. But then they meander.
Right.
Not necessarily every fence is straight. A lot of them go this angle, and they go through both properties. So whose fence is it? And the fences are not necessarily a terrible fix, but what really comes to the ends of the fences, the columns.
Oh, yeah.
And now the columns are on your neighbor's property or something of that nature. Those become issues. And then later, when you go to sell your property and the buyer wants you to take care of the problem.
Right.
So you'd rather get the survey up front and have your seller take care of the problem.
Absolutely.
Always a good idea to start with a clean slate and then get title insurance.
You know it.
Good to go. So, Jim Lapino, gracias, amigo.
Hey, man. Always appreciate
so much.
it.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Really a pleasure talking to you. Folks, that will do it for another edition of the Florida Keys Real Estate Guys. So glad you could make it.
Yeah. Like I said, we were getting the ink dry on those listings, so you never know what comes up.
Need a place to put your boat?
That's
the guy
where.
to talk to.
Perfect.
By all means. We will catch you next Monday. In the meantime, I'm Mark Mills.
And I'm Mykael Marinelli of American Caribbean Real Estate, and wishing you tropical vibes.
See you next week.
If I had my way, I'd set sail right away. Destination, southern shores. Throw my cares upon a shelf. Head on off for somewheres else, where the weather's always warm.